I sat alone in my apartment staring at the cardboard box containing 5 years of my professional life. Just yesterday, I had created $200 million for Technova. Today, I was unemployed. The app that changed social commerce forever, my creation, my code, my vision, had made them wealthy beyond imagination. They thought firing me would silence me forever. What they never knew was that deep within those lines of code lived a kill switch. One button that only I controlled. One click that could freeze their entire empire. Before I tell you how I took down a tech empire with just one click, let me know where you are watching from in the comments. And if you have ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, hit that subscribe button. You will want to see what happens next. Growing up in a small town outside of Portland, I never fit the Silicon Valley stereotype. No Stanford degree. No family connections. Just an old laptop my dad bought at a garage sale when I turned 12. That laptop became my portal to another world. While other kids played sports, I taught myself Python, then Java, then everything I could get my hands on. My parents worked double shifts at the local factory to put me through state college. They beamed with pride when I graduated with my computer science degree, completely unaware that in the tech world my diploma might as well have been printed on toilet paper. The elite companies wanted Ivy League pedigrees, not self-taught coders from public universities. I bounced between 3 startups in my first 4 years. Always the guy who could solve impossible problems, but never the one invited to leadership meetings. My ideas for new features were implemented without credit. My suggestions for improvements were ignored until someone higher up proposed the same thing months later. By 28, I had developed enough reputation to land interviews at mid-tier tech companies, but the student loans were crushing me. Every month was a financial tightrope walk. I lived in a studio apartment with secondhand furniture and ate ramen 4 nights a week, saving every penny to chip away at the debt. The American dream felt like a cruel joke designed specifically to mock people like me. People who believed hard work and talent would eventually be recognized. When the Technova recruiter called, I almost missed it. My phone was on its last legs, much like my patience with the industry. But something made me answer that call, something that felt like the universe finally throwing me a bone. Technova was not Google or Facebook, but it was climbing fast, a social media platform focusing on connecting professionals that had recently secured serious venture capital funding. The Technova headquarters occupied a gleaming glass building in downtown San Francisco. Walking through those doors on my first day felt surreal. The lobby featured a 15-foot digital waterfall that responded to movement. Free gourmet coffee stations dotted every floor. The workstations had dual curved monitors and ergonomic everything. Jackson Hayes, the CEO, gathered all new employees for an orientation. Tall, with perfectly styled hair and a smile that never reached his eyes, he spoke about changing the world through connection and innovation. At Technova, we are family, he said, arms spread wide like a televangelist. Your success is our success. I believed him. God help me. I believed every word. Diana Fuller became my direct supervisor. In her early 40s, with sharp eyes and a sharper mind, she had climbed the corporate ladder through sheer competence rather than politics. Keep your head down, deliver results, and you will do fine here, she told me during our first one-on-one. This place rewards performance. Her genuine smile made me feel I had finally found a professional home. The CTO, Marcus Winters, made a different impression. During my team introduction, he barely looked up from his phone, dismissing my previous experience with a wave of his hand. Everyone thinks they are special when they arrive, he said. Prove it with your code, not your resume. The chill in his voice made several team members shift uncomfortably. Only Amy Rodriguez, another developer who started the same day, seemed unfazed by the corporate hierarchy. Brilliant and unfiltered, she came from a background similar to mine. These executive types are all the same, she whispered as we left the meeting. Just smile, nod, and do brilliant work. The code speaks for itself. For 6 months, I did exactly that. I fixed impossible bugs. I streamlined outdated processes. I stayed late without complaint. Technova was growing fast, but still using inefficient systems that slowed everything down. I documented the issues, but received only automated responses to my suggestions. The frustration built quietly within me. Then came the night that changed everything. 3 energy drinks deep and working past midnight, I found myself staring at our user engagement metrics. Something clicked in my brain, a pattern nobody else had noticed. What if we combined social media with direct purchasing in a way nobody had successfully implemented before? Not just product recommendations, but an entire commerce ecosystem built on real social connections rather than algorithms. I sketched out the concept, coding a rough prototype until sunrise. By morning, I had something crude but functional. A demo that showed how users could seamlessly transition from social interaction to purchase without ever leaving the app. The commission structure would generate revenue from both vendors and through premium user features. When I presented the idea at our weekly team meeting, Marcus dismissed it immediately. "We are a social platform, not Amazon. Stay in your lane." Others nodded along, unwilling to challenge him. Only Diana lingered afterward. "That concept has potential," she said quietly. "Keep developing it on your own time. Sometimes you need to build the thing before people can see its value." For 3 weeks, I worked my regular job during the day and built my app at night. Sleep became a luxury I could not afford. My apartment transformed into a nest of whiteboards and sticky notes. The prototype evolved from crude to compelling, with real user flows and monetization strategies mapped out. Diana checked on my progress regularly, offering suggestions and encouragement. "This could be revolutionary," she said one evening, scrolling through the demo. "But be careful who you show it to. Ideas get stolen around here." I should have heeded her warning more carefully. The opportunity came when our main platform crashed during a major update. As the team scrambled to fix it, Jackson stormed into the development floor, furious about the revenue loss. Panic filled the room as fingers pointed in every direction. "I might have something that could help," I said, standing up from my desk. The room went silent as I connected my laptop to the main screen. "I built this as a parallel system with better stability. We could migrate users here temporarily while fixing the main platform." I launched my prototype, walking them through the enhanced features. The commerce integration appeared as a natural extension of what we already offered. The room remained silent until Jackson started laughing. "You built this by yourself?" he asked, circling the screen like a shark. "This is exactly what we need to compete with the big players." He turned to Marcus, whose face had darkened considerably. "Set up a team immediately. Ethan leads the project." Just like that, I was heading a special development unit with a dedicated budget and 5 engineers under my direction. Diana gave me a subtle thumbs up from across the room. After years of being overlooked, someone had finally seen my value. The validation felt better than any paycheck. Within 6 weeks, we had a viable product ready for limited release. The testing metrics exceeded even my optimistic projections. User engagement increased by 240%. The average time spent in-app tripled. The seamless purchasing function converted at 8 times the industry standard. For the first time in my career, executives knew my name. Jackson mentioned me in company-wide emails. My team celebrated each milestone with increasingly lavish happy hours. Success, it seemed, had a gravitational pull that brought recognition, resources, and respect. I was so caught up in the validation that I missed the warning signs. Marcus began attending our team meetings unannounced. Features I had specified underwent mysterious executive revisions overnight. The marketing materials referred to the app as Technova's revolutionary platform rather than identifying any creators. Amy noticed it first. "They are positioning to edge you out," she said during a rare moment alone in the break room. "Classic corporate move, let the innovator build it, then rebrand it as an executive vision." "That is ridiculous," I replied. "Jackson personally approved my leadership of this project." "Jackson approves whatever makes him money," she said. "Just watch your back." I dismissed her concerns as paranoia, but a seed of doubt had been planted. That night I could not sleep. What if she was right? What if all this work, all this success was about to be taken from me? The thought triggered memories of every past injustice, every stolen idea, every overlooked contribution. At 3 in the morning, I made a decision. I logged into our development server and began crafting what would later save me a hidden back door only I could access. A kill switch buried so deep in the architecture that even a code audit would miss it. If triggered, it would not destroy anything, but it would effectively freeze the entire platform until specific conditions were met. The ethical implications troubled me. Was I sabotaging my own creation? Was I betraying the company's trust? But then again, was it really sabotage to protect yourself from theft? I justified it as insurance, never truly believing I would need to use it. Amy caught me implementing the final touches a few days later. Her eyes widened as she realized what I was doing. "That is either brilliant or career suicide," she whispered. "Probably both. No one will ever know unless they try to cut me out," I said. "Do you think I am being paranoid?" She glanced around the empty office. "No, I think you are being smart. I overheard Marcus on the phone yesterday. He was talking about transitioning project leadership post-launch. Just be careful, Ethan. These people play hardball." The full product launch exceeded everyone's expectations. 1 million users in the first week. 3 million by the end of the month. Revenue began flooding in from vendor commissions, premium features, and targeted advertising. The tech media hailed it as a game changer in the social commerce space. My team celebrated each milestone, but I noticed a shift in the company's messaging. Press releases mentioned Technova's innovative team rather than any individuals. In meetings, Marcus began speaking about his vision for the platform's future. When I corrected him, once pointing out that certain features were my original concepts, Jackson laughed it off as teamwork, making the dream work. Diana's attitude changed too. Once my biggest advocate, she now maintained professional distance. "The company needs to present a unified executive vision," she explained when I questioned her. "Your contribution has been noted internally. Be a team player, Ethan." My authority over my own project diminished by the day. New developers were added to the team without my approval. Feature changes happened without my input. In one particularly frustrating meeting, Marcus presented my Phase 2 plans to investors as if they were his own, with me sitting silently in the back of the room. After that meeting, Amy forwarded me an email she had accidentally been copied on. In it, Marcus discussed with Jackson and Diana the founder narrative for the app, positioning himself as the conceptual creator and me as simply one of many implementing engineers. The final line read, "Once we hit the 200 million revenue mark, we should consider a restructuring of the development team. E's compensation package is becoming problematic as we approach IPO." E was me. They were planning to push me out once they hit a revenue target. The betrayal hit like a physical blow. I had given everything to this company, created hundreds of millions in value, only to be discarded when convenient. That night I reviewed the kill switch code, ensuring it remained undetected and functional. Not that I planned to use it, not yet, but its existence provided small comfort against the growing sense of powerlessness. The $200 million revenue milestone came faster than anyone predicted. Technova threw a massive celebration at an exclusive rooftop venue. Champagne flowed as Jackson gave a speech about visionary leadership and executive innovation. My name was mentioned once, grouped with 12 other developers as our talented engineering team. Marcus received a Special Achievement Award for revolutionary product development. As he accepted the crystal trophy, his eyes found mine in the crowd, a slight smirk playing at the corners of his mouth. He knew exactly what he had stolen, and he knew I could do nothing about it. The following Monday, I discovered my security access had been downgraded. I could no longer make changes to core features without approval. When I confronted Diana, she avoided eye contact. "It is just standard procedure. As we scale," she said unconvincingly. "Nothing personal." That Friday, it happened. A meeting invitation appeared on my calendar at 4:30 in the afternoon. Human Resources Conference Room, B. Optional attendees included 2 security personnel. The title simply read, "Transition Discussion." They did not even have the decency to fire me properly. A human resources representative I had never met read from a prepared statement about company restructuring and changing needs. Diana sat silently beside her, studying her manicure. The security guard stood by the door as if I might become violent. "Your contributions have been valuable," the HR woman said without emotion, "but we are moving in a different direction that requires leadership more aligned with our corporate vision." They gave me 30 minutes to clean out my desk. A pathetic severance package requiring me to sign away all rights to claim any ownership of the app's intellectual property. A reminder of the non-compete clause in my contract. A thinly veiled threat about legal consequences should I speak publicly about proprietary company information. As security escorted me through the development floor, past colleagues averted their eyes. Only Amy met my gaze, her expression, a mixture of anger and sympathy. Later that night she texted, "They are already removing your name from all the documentation." Marcus has a press interview Monday about his entrepreneurial journey creating the app. This is beyond wrong. The weeks that followed were the darkest of my life. I consulted 3 lawyers, all of whom confirmed the same brutal reality. My employment contract gave Technova ownership of anything I created while working for them, even on my own time. Fighting them would cost hundreds of thousands in legal fees with virtually no chance of success. I applied for other positions only to discover I had been blacklisted throughout the industry. No one would say it directly, but the message from recruiters was clear. Technova had spread the word that I was difficult, litigious, and untrustworthy. Doors closed before I could even approach them. My savings dwindled as rent payments came due. The student loans entered forbearance, accumulating more interest. I sold my car then, my laptop, then most of my furniture. Depression became my constant companion as I watched from afar, while Technova prepared for their IPO valued at over $2 billion, largely on the strength of my creation. Tech publications ran glowing profiles of Marcus, detailing his brilliant vision for social commerce. A particularly galling Wired cover story titled him "The Commerce Whisperer," with no mention of the original development team. In every interview, he spoke about his breakthrough moment, his coding solutions, his innovative approach. 3 months after my firing, an eviction notice appeared on my door. That same day, Diana reached out for the first time since my termination. Her message seemed friendly, asking how I was doing, reminiscing about the good old days. But buried in the small talk was a probing question. "By the way, the team has been having some issues with certain deeper architectural elements of the platform. You always had such a unique approach to the back-end structure. Any insights you could share?" They had discovered something unusual in the code. They were fishing for information about the kill switch. That evening, I sat on my barren apartment floor with my last possession of value, a tablet I had kept to monitor news about Technova. The screen displayed their latest triumph. A CNBC interview with Jackson, discussing the upcoming IPO projected to be one of the largest of the year. "Our proprietary social commerce platform has revolutionized the industry," he boasted. "This is just the beginning of what our visionary team can accomplish." Something broke inside me. After months of depression and helplessness, a cold clarity washed over me. They had taken everything from me, my creation, my reputation, my career, and soon my home. What more did I have to lose? I powered up an old phone with a secure connection and logged into a dormant email account. From there, I accessed a server that connected to the kill switch protocol. For months I had resisted the temptation, telling myself I was better than petty revenge. But this was no longer about revenge, it was about justice. The interface was simple by design. A single command would trigger a cascading protocol that would freeze the entire platform exactly 72 hours later, precisely during Technova's IPO presentation to major investors. It would not destroy data or compromise user information. It would simply halt everything, displaying a simple message on every user's screen. Innovation requires integrity. My finger hovered over the activation button. Was I really going to do this, destroy years of work to make a point? But then, I remembered it was my work they had stolen. My vision they had claimed. My future they had ruined. I pressed the button. For 3 days, I waited, half expecting SWAT teams to break down my door. But the beauty of the kill switch was its perfect camouflage. It appeared as standard maintenance code, triggering only when specific conditions aligned. No alert would warn them of what was coming. On the morning of the IPO presentation, I watched the live stream from an internet cafe, unable to afford Wi-Fi in my apartment any longer. Jackson stood confidently on stage in front of investment bankers and tech journalists, discussing quarterly projections and growth metrics. Our platform processes over 3 million transactions daily, with 99.8% uptime, he boasted. The stability of our system is unmatched in the industry. At that exact moment, his presentation screen went black. Confused murmurs rippled through the audience as Jackson tapped uselessly at his controls. Behind him, assistants frantically worked phones and tablets. One by one, screens throughout the venue displaying the Technova app showed the same message: innovation requires integrity. Simultaneously, every user of the app, now numbering over 30 million, saw the same message. Social media erupted. News alerts pinged. The livestream camera caught Marcus's face, transitioning from confusion to horror as he realized what was happening. While the chaos unfolded, a data package I had prepared released automatically to 5 technology journalists. Documentation proving my role as the original creator, including early design notes, prototype videos, and email exchanges that had somehow survived in my personal archives. No confidential code was shared, nothing that violated my NDA. Just enough truth to spark questions. Within hours, "Innovation requires integrity" was trending worldwide. Tech forums buzzed with speculation. Technova's stock, which had opened strong, plummeted as investors fled the uncertainty. The IPO was postponed indefinitely as the company struggled to bring systems back online. I expected to feel triumph, but what came instead was a complicated mixture of satisfaction and regret. I had stood up for myself. Yes, but at what cost? The platform that millions of people relied on my creation was suffering. 3 days later, as Technova continued failing to restore functionality, my phone rang with an unknown number. It was Jackson himself. "What do you want?" he asked, without preamble, his voice tight with controlled rage. "Recognition, compensation, and a public apology," I replied, surprised by my own calmness. "You will never work in this industry again if you do not fix this immediately," he threatened. "I already cannot work in this industry because of you," I said. "The difference is now everyone knows why." What followed was the most intense 2 weeks of my life. Legal teams worked around the clock drafting agreements. The SEC launched an investigation into Technova's corporate disclosures. Tech journalists dug deeper, uncovering similar patterns of idea theft throughout the company's history. Former employees began speaking out, confirming that my experience was not unique. The company culture of appropriating innovations from lower-level employees while giving credit to executives had been standard practice for years. The settlement negotiations were brutal but necessary. In the end, I received proper financial compensation, though far less than what the app had truly generated. More importantly, I received formal recognition as the primary creator and architect of the platform. The money allowed me to clear my debts and start fresh. The public vindication opened doors that had previously been slammed shut. But the experience had fundamentally changed me and my relationship with the tech industry. 6 months later, I founded a smaller, more ethical company with a radical transparency policy. Every contributor receives proper credit for their innovations. Profit sharing extends to all employees, not just executives. Amy was my first hire, bringing along several other disillusioned Technova developers. Our first product was not as flashy as a social commerce platform, but it addressed a real need in the market, a system allowing creative professionals to document and protect their intellectual contributions within corporate environments. We called it Attribution, a name that reflected everything I had learned through my experience. Technova survived the scandal, though, with a significantly diminished valuation. Jackson stepped down as CEO. Marcus left the industry entirely. Diana reached out once with congratulations on my new venture, but I never responded. Some bridges cannot and should not be rebuilt. The most valuable lesson from this entire ordeal was not about revenge or even justice. It was about the true meaning of success. Creating something of value means nothing if you sacrifice your integrity in the process. Money and recognition are hollow victories if they come at the expense of your core principles. Today, my company operates with the motto "Innovation through Integrity" prominently displayed in our lobby. It serves as a daily reminder that how we achieve success matters as much as the success itself. True innovation cannot exist in an environment of theft and betrayal. It requires honesty, collaboration, and proper recognition of every contributor's value. I sometimes wonder what would have happened if Technova had simply treated me fairly from the beginning. They would have had my loyalty for life. My creativity and drive would have generated billions more for them over the years. Instead, their greed and dishonesty cost them not just money but their reputation and future potential. If there is one question I would ask you after sharing my story, it is this: what would you have done in my position? Would you have walked away silently? Or would you have fought for recognition of your work? Let me know in the comments below. If this story resonated with you or reminded you of similar experiences in your own career, please hit that subscribe button and share this video with others who might benefit from hearing it. Every like helps spread the message that integrity still matters in business. Thank you for listening, and remember, sometimes the most powerful code you can write is the one that stands up for what is right.